I love the story of Mary and Martha. And one time I heard a teaching, Mary was sitting at the feet of Jesus and Martha was all busy. And so sometimes we can be like, oh, I'm a Martha or I'm a Mary. And I heard this teaching one time that each woman, we have a Martha part and a Mary part in us. We've got a part of us that wants to serve and is busy and, wants to participate and be productive. And then we have a part of us that wants to sit at the feet of Jesus and sit and get what we need from him. And so in this season, I had to learn what the needed things are. Not everything is good. Saying yes to everything is the enemy of excellence. Gaining belly fat in perimenopause and menopause, even while eating trim healthy and doing all the right things. Feeling exhausted, inflamed, and so done with the scale. Hey, I'm Chris Honeycutt, Jesus follower, trim healthy coach, and your midlife hype girl. I believe God didn't design you to live stuck, bloated, or burned out. This podcast helps you partner with your hormones, ditch the belly fat, and finally feel strong, calm, and confident in a body you actually enjoy living in. Hey friends, if you've been eating clean, exercising, and doing all the right things, but your body still isn't responding like it used to, it's time for a different approach. Book a free discovery call with me. During our chat, we will see if you're a good fit for my one-on-one coaching program where I help women in midlife rebalance hormones, simplify nutrition and exercise, and finally see results that last. You do not have to keep guessing what your body needs. Let's build a plan that actually works for you. Grab your sipper and let's go. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Menopause Makeover. Today, we are talking about a topic that I can truly relate to. And as I talk to many of you, I hear the same thing from you. And so I'm going to name this hormones, brain fog, and humility. It would be better if it were hormones, hot flashes, and humility. But for me, it was the brain fog. And this is really what midlife taught me about control. So what does all this have to do? Control, hormones, brain fog, humility. Well, let's get started. So I have talked to so many women, and several of you say something like this. This is an actual quote from one of you, but many of you are saying very similar things as you hit perimenopause. I can run my own company, but I can't seem to put together a meal. This is something that I heard from one of my friends. I'm on a walk, and she's like, I am so capable in so many areas, and I've built this thing, and here I am, and now I can't even hardly get up and figure out what I need to eat and how to get my exercise in. From another friend, I've birthed 6 kids, I've homeschooled them all, and I've managed schedules, sports, and the chaos, yet here I am, and I still do not know how to make my food plan. I am still frustrated and overwhelmed. Somewhere along the way, the habits that once started working for us stopped working, and pounds gained, constantly feeling tired, overwhelmed, doing all the things, body's not cooperating. Maybe you've put you at the bottom of the list. For the first time, you're feeling like, what is wrong with me? Am I going crazy? And I had these same feelings. I actually had those thoughts to myself, like, why am I so emotional? Why can't I be as productive and resilient as I once have? I used to be able to do all kinds of stuff. I used to brag and call myself super broad, although that's not a great thing to brag about because it ended up just about really backfiring with my own health, leading me to adrenal fatigue and some other things. Not saying that we need to be super broad, but back in the day, I feel like I could really put a lot of things together, keep a lot of plates spinning. And then as I hit perimenopause and even going into menopause, some of those things I can't even do anymore. My brain isn't even working anymore. There's so many things. There's so much information out there coming at me as well, and many of you. And so I kind of want to just share what happened with me as I hit this period in my life. I was in the kitchen and I was making my oatmeal on the stove. I had all my things I'm going to put in my oatmeal. I had all my supplements lined up, like little soldiers. I just had my quiet time, my hour with the Lord, and ready to hit the ground running. And all of a sudden, I just lost it. I just got to this emotional place where I was just feeling so tired and just so done and tired of just like trying to do all the things. And I just cried out to the Lord and I said, I am doing all the things, but I feel like I'm not doing the needed thing. I'm doing all these things. I don't even know what's working. I don't know what's not working. I can't even figure this out. There's so much information. There's so many things. I read this and hear this, and I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get my hormones working with me and for me. I'm trying to get to my goal weight. I'm trying to do my exercise properly. In the meantime, I'm working and I'm also still homeschooling several kids, all the things. And I just feel like the Lord said, just let go. Let go. Not give up and quit, but just hand it over. Just let it go. And I had this picture of balloons, helium balloons. And it's like I was carrying these helium balloons, and he said, let go. And I just let those balloons go, and they just floated away. Like, how easy would it be if I could just let go like that? But he gave me that picture for a reason, because I think it's more of a practice and not just a one-time let go. But the things that I felt that I heard in my spirit were let go of perfection, let go of control, and let go of all these results that I am so tied to. Like, I'm not going to be okay if I don't get these certain results. And those are the kind of things that were actually weighing me down a lot more than even the things that I was doing in the natural. That was really a turning point for me. It's the day I really stopped fighting and holding on with everything that I could or everything that I had. It's really a time when I just started practicing letting go, because that's really what it is. Because my tendency is to hold on very tightly, especially to those results. And I coach a lot of you. This is one of your biggest frustrations, is that you're either doing all the things and you're not seeing results, or you don't know what to do and you feel overwhelmed and you're not seeing results, or you're trying your hardest and you may not being all the things, but you think you're doing good enough and you're not seeing results. And there are other things going on here. Sometimes there's other things going on in your body, that your body and metabolism and hormones need some healing time. Sometimes you aren't really doing all the things, and sometimes you are, and we need to adjust our time frame. And not even just with our weight loss journey, our health journey. Maybe you're struggling with joint pain or arthritis or underlying issues, disease, some of these things that happen as we're aging, and you can't stop it and you can't change it, and you want that result to be a certain thing, and it just isn't, and it just causes that level of holding on and frustration. And when we're in that frustrated place, and when we're so tied to that result happening, there is really a lack of peace. There's a lack of trust. There isn't that place where we could even pivot if we needed to, because we're holding on so tightly. And so here's what I have learned really, and still learning, is that a lot of this is hormone driven. Not all of it, but a lot of it is hormone driven, because as our hormones are declining, it doesn't just mess with our body. It interrupts many, many circuits in our body, such as our brain, our blood sugar, our sleep, our resilience, even our confidence, our mood, all of that. The hormonal changes begin to interrupt these different things in our life. And so when we used to be able to be a little bit more resilient and handle stress a lot better and handle a lot of decisions and a lot of things on our plate, we become, and really with our declining of our hormones, we are, I'm going to say this in a good way, we're less resilient. And that doesn't mean we're not resilient. It's just that the things that were hitting on all cylinders before that were serving us in these areas are somewhat limited or hindered right now. Estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and other hormones, insulin, cortisol, ghrelin, leptin, all these. These are messengers that used to quietly keep things running smoothly in the background. They start to fluctuate and drop. And when they do, everything from our mood to our motivation can feel out of sync. But instead of adapting, most of us try to do what's always worked, which is control. I don't know about you, but try to eat less, exercise more, push harder, try extreme dieting, or sometimes we just say, to heck with it, and it just goes out the window. And that was me for a lot of years. I did try a lot of different things, white-knuckling it, over-exercising, under-fueling, different types of diets, thinking that I was going to be able to get back to where I was in my 30s, and I've not been able to do that. And there is a level of acceptance that our midlife and beyond body is going to be different. She's going to be a different woman. We need to get to know what her needs are. We need to get to redefine who we are in this midlife season. And instead of getting frustrated and critical about ourselves, those are the things that actually work against us. But what I discovered is that it's really not a season to try to fit my square peg in a round hole anymore. It's a new season for me to discover, not work harder, but discover what this midlife body, what this woman needs in this season. And it's not based on my 40s or 30s. It's not going to look different. And make peace with the new things or the additional things or the instead of things that I need to be doing in this season. So when I finally stopped trying to control and even punish my body, and I started partnering with it, I started listening to it, I started slowing down and being mindful and listening and praying and really starting to, I guess, get to know the needs of this season with practice, things began to shift over time. They did not stop immediately. It actually took a few years, especially to get hormone optimization and things like that. And that's kind of a different conversation, but we want to support our hormones. So what I learned in this season is that I needed a new kind of strategy. And the strategy is one that supports hormones instead of spiking them. And honestly, we need a strategy in every season of our womanhood to support our hormones. We just do. It's never been more apparent than now when the hormones walked out the door, because that's kind of what caused the uprising. The hormones walk out the door, all heck breaks loose, and then we're left with, oh, okay, now what? How do I support these hormones? And I'm not just talking about our sex hormones. I'm talking about our cortisol and our insulin and our leptin and our ghrelin, and there's other hormones as well. So what shift this meant for me was to get very intentional. And this is what I've learned over the years as I hit perimenopause and menopause from Trim Healthy Wisdom, from the other certifications that I'm certified with, and other practitioners and doctors, and the literature, the science right now for the women is newer. Normally our science is actually from men. And now we're getting newer, like in the last 10 years, science that is based on actually women in midlife. And we're learning that women are not little men. Women have a very different circuitry. Duh, right? We need different things. And so what works for a male or a man is probably not going to work for a woman, especially one whose hormones are declining. And there is a lot of variation there that's going on. There's a transition going on. So here are some things that I began to do and learn that begin to really shift me out of this season. And the main thing was to let go of that control and lean in to the process, lean in to letting God be my shepherd and lead me in the paths and where I need to go. And so he has, and he is, and he will for you too. So here are some things practically that started to happen as I made these changes. I started to pull out, so to speak. So that would be eating enough protein to trigger muscle growth and steady my blood sugar. That was a big one. With traditional Trim Healthy, I was not getting enough protein. I had protein, but I was not getting my 25 to 30 grams of protein, which contains enough leucine to switch on that trigger for muscle protein synthesis. Because what happens when hormones are walking out the door, so is our muscle, and that's going to increase our fat and decrease our metabolism and decrease our longevity and decrease our bone density. And that protein needs to be adequate for our season of life. So that is 25 to 35 grams. 4 hits a day is what I'm going for. My goal is 125 grams of protein a day. That is for me and my activity level. And next is not throwing out carbohydrates or going low carb. Pairing my carbs with my protein wisely to balance insulin and energy and support hormones and give me glucose for energy was key. I don't know about you, but going through perimenopause and menopause, energy levels just plummet. And when we don't have estrogen to provide that energy, testosterone as well, we need an outside source. And that's why those carbohydrates are very key, not only for all of those reasons, but to support our thyroid. That's another thing that happens. Our thyroid starts to get sluggish. That's your battery, ladies. That's your metabolism. You're wondering why you are eating less and you're not losing weight, but you're gaining weight. It's because of those things I mentioned earlier. So we really want to support that thyroid. Next, prioritize strength training over cardio. This was such a flip-flop for me as a personal trainer since I was 21. We really weren't taught this for women in perimenopause and menopause. And actually now we're looking at the science, and women of all ages, we need to prioritize strength training. It can actually help you mitigate a lot of perimenopause and menopause symptoms if you come into that season strong and you are keeping your muscle. You don't lose your muscle. That is key. Hey friend, quick pause before we get back to the episode because I don't want you to miss this. If you have been eating healthy, doing all the right things, but your midlife belly just will not budge, you are not alone, and I am sure you feel very frustrated. That is exactly why I'm hosting the Beat the Belly Fat workshop this January, a free 3-day live event designed for women in midlife who are ready to kickstart fat loss without deprivation, shame, or another round of restriction. Over 3 days, I'll show you how to eat and move for this season of life, balance your hormones so your body starts working with you again, and use the exact strategies I teach inside my midlife fat loss formula to finally see results. If you're ready to finally understand what's happening with your body and start burning fat in a way that actually lasts, this is your next step. Be sure and get on my email list, link here in the show notes, to get first dibs. Next, sleep. This is such a tricky one and so important. There's so many studies about sleep and hormone balance and weight loss and detoxification and human growth hormone for anti-aging, lowering cortisol. Restorative sleep is everything. And so protecting and working on that like it's my job. And I'm still not there. You guys, if you followed me, you know that I truly struggle with getting a good night's sleep. And I will have seasons of better sleep and I will have seasons of no sleep. As a matter of fact, I'm coming off only 5 hours of sleep last night. I'm working on this. I know it's so important. And then even that can stress you out. So I'm learning to trust the process and for it to be okay. Okay, didn't get enough rest last night. What do we need to do about that today? And then continue to work on that. Another thing is giving myself grace for the days that my body needs recovery. Do you know you need more recovery in this season of your life? It is restore before more, or you're going to drive up those cortisol levels and everything's going to backfire when we have chronic high cortisol levels. So it wasn't about doing more. It was about doing the needed thing, what mattered. I love the story of Mary and Martha. And one time I heard a teaching, Mary was sitting at the feet of Jesus and Martha was all busy. And so sometimes we can be like, oh, I'm a Martha or I'm a Mary. And I heard this teaching one time that each woman, we have a Martha part and a Mary part in us. We've got a part of us that wants to serve and is busy and, wants to participate and be productive. And then we have a part of us that wants to sit at the feet of Jesus and sit and get what we need from him. And so in this season, I had to learn what the needed things are. Not everything is good. Saying yes to everything is the enemy of excellence. Good is the enemy of excellence. Where is it that God is calling me? I had to find more no's in my vocabulary and more boundaries in my vocabulary than yes to everything or living by obligation. That was one of the biggest things also, besides control, of just not bowing down to obligation. I don't owe anybody anything except to love them. And what is the loving thing to do right now for myself? What is the loving thing to do for them? Yes, there's a time for sacrifice, for sure. But it really is about learning what is the needed thing in this season. So the shift really changed everything over time, not overnight. My energy began to return. My brain fog got better. I will say it's not completely gone, but it got better. My body began to have less aches and pains. My heart began to soften towards this midlife woman in the mirror, watching, wrinkles come and fat storage and muffin top and hair falling out and hot flashes and tired, and also the beautiful parts as well. The woman that is working out and playing pickleball and loving her family and loving her husband and homeschooling her children and staying in it no matter what. Things begin to shift. And that's really where that humility and hormones, I like to say, this journey through midlife has really humbled me. And I'm so glad that it has. For years, I equated control with success. If I could just plan better, push better, or stay more disciplined, if I could just get this, I'd win. But the truth is, midlife really taught me humility, that I really can't do all the things. And that what used to work, I really need to let that go. And when my body says rest, we rest. When my body said, let's go, let's go. Humility in being open to different ideas of how to take care of my body in this season, more self-care, and really humility in acknowledging that I can't control this anyway. It was never mine to control. I can participate. I can participate with what God is doing in my life. He wants us to prosper and be in health. What is He doing? He's my good shepherd. He's leading me. I'm showing up. And one of the biggest shifts also out of that control space was not even I'm going to stay on plan. It's how can I nourish and move my body in this season to honor God and honor myself? That is such a great question to ask yourself before you put something in your mouth, before you move your body, before you say yes to something, before you stay up late, before you get all stressed out. It is something to ask yourself, am I honoring God with my body, nourishing, moving my body, treating my temple like I need to so that I can go and be a force for the kingdom and live out what He's called me to live out? So the hormones and the brain fog and the humility, all of those have really been an escort for me. They've been teachers in my life. They escort me to a place of total surrender. I'm surrendering every moment, every bite, every hormonal imbalance, every worry that I'm up in the middle of the night about, surrendering it all and partnering with God. There is provision already there. There's provision already there. We have everything we need for life and for godliness. It's already there. How can I enter into that peace? And it's pursuing peace. And that starts with that place of humility and getting out of pride. I can't do this. I'm not right. Not that I'm going to criticize myself or judge myself, but it's really letting go. It's letting go. So this is practical, yes. And this is also very spiritual and even emotional. So if something has pricked your heart or your conscience or your spirit or whatever, listen to it and just ask the Lord, what is my next step? Where can I find a doorway to freedom? Where can I find a doorway of escape right now in this season? Maybe yours isn't about control. Maybe it's not about perfectionism, but we all are on this journey together, right? And so I suggest surrendering your results, your path, your health, your weight loss, your hormones, your brain, all of that, surrendering that. And then also choosing to believe that there is hope and you can turn the corner, because you can. If I've been able to do it and I've been able to coach hundreds of women to turn the corner, to take the next step, to get unstuck. That is the hope that I'm giving you today. Hey friends, if you're ready for real results, the kind that last because they're built for your midlife body, let's chat. I offer a free discovery call to see if one-on-one coaching is the right fit for you. In that call, we'll look at your current habits, hormones, and lifestyle, and I'll share how I can help you personalize a plan for food, fitness, and fat loss that actually works in this season of life. So go to getyourtrimon.com/work with Chris and grab your spot. And let's find out what your body's been trying to tell you.